Hello, and welcome to Dice Chasers. So, we're going to mix things up today because every time when we film, Barry starts off the episode doing a recap for the players and then complains about how I'll just dub it over in post anyways with one of my intros. So, today Barry will be handling the recap of last week's episode. Here it is. I hope you enjoy it.
Well, last time on Dice Chasers,
All set and raring to go.
a whole bunch of weird things happened.
Bravo.
This is gonna get expositioned by Megan anyway in her usual hilarious style, but
Yes.
now this is gonna be the time that she doesn't. So just to show
I mean,
you.
I'm really low energy, I might not be able to.
So you found the mountain side where the lab was located. Opened the door and got basically ported across to the actual door. Inside, you came face to face with an entity that was at the door and basically asked your intentions, and you identified yourself, said it was Sam, and let you in. And via some explorations, you found that the research staff had suffered organic damage.
Fall damage is a bitch.
That all the research staff were no longer there, and the magical entity used as a lab assistant, Sam, was partially mostly responsible, but to his credit, he didn't know he was hurting them.
Just
Um,
the middle.
Ignorance means innocence, apparently.
You would.
I'm gonna bite my tongue real hard because I don't want to get sued.
Yeah. Hence the apparently after.
And they also discovered that this entity might have a connection to Sabrak.
There you go, Barry. Your intro made it onto the stream for once. So, will we find out more about Sabrak's past? Will Sam get along with the rest of the group or end up brutally causing organic damage, potentially fatally so, to the rest of us? And will we perhaps find out more about the rest of the party's past instead? Find out in this episode of Dice Chasers. Can you hear adventure calling? Do you hear it beckon? Choose your fate, the dice are falling. Chase your destiny. Traveling with your companions, forming your own story. Facing dungeons, fighting dragons, live your legacy. Searching for a greater purpose, carrying the burden of a pain-filled history, feeling through the comfort of companions, chasing after freedom, waiting patiently. We can hear adventure calling, we will answer bravely. Toss the dice, we'll face our fate, we'll chase our destiny.
This week, we find ourselves back at school. You walk back. No real issues on the road, and you came back to the schoolhouse.
It's good to be home.
It smells like books in here.
It smells so good.
It smells like tea.
Okay, well,
I just have one quick thing to mention here. I might be having magical internet issues, so I will see if I can come back. I will be as quickly as I can, so I don't ruin the experience for everyone.
Sabrak is disappearing. Ah!
Okay, magical internet should be working, I think.
Okay.
Maybe.
You seem good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, because I know when I was logged in, I could not hear anything that our glorious DM was saying, so it's like,
Oh.
oh.
I got parts, but Oh, okay, just follow along. Just nod and say yes.
Do you want your
You just
character to
went
die?
through-
Yes.
Have to be made of flesh and blood to be melted like that.
Yay! Wait, what?
You just go and do the poop.
Well, it was just like everyone else was doing fine, except it's like I can't hear Barry. Why? Have my ears turned deaf to the muse of our DM? Like, what curse has been inflicted
Tell
upon me?
people not to hear.
Ah, Barry!
It's happening again!
Oh no, guys, I can lip read. He is saying we all get inspiration, and that he thinks we're really awesome players and doesn't want us to listen to him ever. See, thumbs up, I was right.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Nailed it.
And Sonia falls into a pit of hell. I don't know
It's
how. it
okay, I got a backup
that-
character already.
That already happened to Tail. So
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Ellie, you can have inspiration. Go for it.
Woo! Okay.
Wait, what? Actually?
Yeah. Take it.
Well, before we go
Okay.
in, Sonia's gonna stop and be like, Sam, wait, would he fit in the door?
Yeah.
He is
Big.
large.
You think he might have a little trouble, but he could probably get in there.
Yara's like sat there looking through her spells, like, do I have anything that could help? No. Damage. Yeah, no.
Damage.
Damage.
I believe at this time, if Sam the unit cannot enter the building, perhaps we need to talk with Liam. He might be able to refabricate the entranceway, or produce a new one.
That's
You could
not a
just,
bad
like,
idea.
push him through.
That is also another possibility. I've heard that agents of lubrication could possibly help when things are stuck in a certain location.
Elio bites his tongue.
Yeah.
Why does lubricant have agency?
Moving things along.
Move right along.
I mean, just sort of duck down and shuffle in, I guess. Turn sideways.
Yeah, she's gonna head over to Sam. Sam, do you want us to help you get inside?
You see its arms like fold in behind its back, like just, like very poor made Transformer toy from China.
Beautiful.
I
Knock
didn't
off.
hear enough snapping for it to be poorly made.
And then it peeks to the door and goes, "I'm afraid I cannot enter.
Why not?
Organics in the way."
Ah, yeah, yeah.
Jin just kind of bounds off to the side and waits outside.
The brag will make room as well.
May proceed with your movement, Sam.
Did you not move in?
I'm hoping
That
this
way we
isn't
can-
killing the stream quality. Oh, hey!
There he is.
We'll put not Sam outside. Mass.
Math.
Ooh, I like that. I like mass.
Alright.
Yara's looking at Sam like, does he need?
Up lubricating on the man.
Like, does he need food or oil? How do we? How do we take care of him?
Oh my gosh, what is that?
This is Sam.
Indeed.
Hello, Sam. Hello. It's really weird having to talk to myself.
Right?
Like a DM.
Yourself is tough.
All the voices in one head.
You
We
just see like a little arm off to the side.
we found Sam in the laboratory that you asked us to go investigate.
Oh, how was everything? Did they just forget to report in?
They're
I
dead.
would say no.
They're dead?
Yeah.
One of them got burnt in the greenhouse, and two of them we think fell off the staircase outside and floated down the river.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay, I will I'll message my father and let him know what's happened. How are all of you doing?
Okay.
Relatively unharmed.
I got eaten by a pile of leaves.
Yes.
Yeah.
That will happen, I've heard.
It was quite strange to see the vegetation come to life. And I would also say as well that there was some illuminating events that transpired for myself when we were visiting the facility.
You'll have to tell me about it later. I've been tracking down leads on Cragmaw Castle, the place where they took Dwarren, Gundren Rockseeker.
Yes.
I'm just heading out now to chase some leads on that. You guys just take the day, and I'll come back and let you guys know what I find. Elio, can I talk to you for a minute in the kitchen?
Oh, wait,
Yeah,
before you do, hello, Hugs! And Sonia's
Hello,
gonna hug
Hugs.
him.
He goes like right red. He's like, oh.
Jin just bursts out laughing behind him again.
And then she ends the hug for that, and then goes and gives Cerise a hello hug too.
Yara's just grinning.
Yeah, Cerise smirks at this.
This will never get old.
And yeah, Liam is like bright red in the face. Just
Eat red.
most pretty girl touched me.
Halo just
Yeah,
will follow and she's like, yeah, of course.
It's quite curious of why Liam shows such a display when he is hugged by Sonia.
That's embarrassing.
Oh, did I do something
We'll go
wrong?
with that.
No, I don't
No,
think so.
quite the opposite.
Helio just pops his head and goes, that ain't embarrassment. Goes back in the room.
Looks back and just looks wholly bemused. She's like, huh.
I believe that in terms of having flushed cheeks and an accelerated heartbeat could also be the signs of affection.
Oh.
Arousal.
He likes you, girl.
Wait, like,
Yeah.
or
I would assume that he is interested in you as a potential partner.
oh,
I believe Sabrak and I had a conversation about this, something about excreting pheromones and hormones and something about...
Correct.
Anyway, babies in the future.
If that is your desire.
This escalated quickly.
I
She
feel
even
like-
walked into the wrong room.
Yara's like, Sonia, that's the wrong bedroom. There you go. There you go.
Even knowing this construct does not have what one might deem as emotions, I feel I might have said something out of line.
No,
Nah,
no.
I just picture Sonya with like dial-up modem sound.
she was about as red as her hair.
Yes.
No, it's just
Yep.
she's new.
I believe the term for this one is we were jesting, teasing her, applying fun and amusement through conversation.
I see. Teasing.
Yes.
And she's
Jot
just
that down.
nervously putting the things that we found on our adventures into the chest at the end of her bed, just like. Oh.
All right, back to Liam and Elio here. So Liam says, I wanted to talk to you about that book that I showed you when we first met. Obviously, it's written from one side of the accounts, but I was wondering, could I get your side? I've been a bit distracted lately with the whole goblin kidnapping and nearly dying, but I wanted to ask you about that because, like I said, we only have the one story of it so far.
To Elio, it's like kind of just like that moment where there's like slightly close and there's a moment of triggeredness, but he'll calm and he's just like, I suppose ideally I would like to share my side.
In your own time, obviously.
Yeah, it will take a bit of time.
We have some pressing things to deal with right now anyway, so but I just thought I'd see if you would be up for telling your people's side of the story instead of just the one-sided argument.
Yeah, sure. I could eventually do that. I would like to be not known as a giant moth creature, who we won't say moth plus male because that would mean copyright. I don't want to be the moth male, thank you.
I'm like,
Well,
It's
Well,
I will warn you now, Liam, it is a tender subject. I'm sure you've read that side, and as much as there are things missing from it regarding my own personal involvement in that war, I'm sure you know that there's plenty of things in there that aren't exactly pleasant.
well, understandably, but you know, having both sides of the story, you typically tend to run into the truth. The other thing was no mention of why your people came through the Feywild, so that was another. You know, I doubt it was they just came to invade, but you never know, depending which Fey court is in session. Anyway, I should head out. I've got a meeting down the road, so I will. We can. Yeah, we'll talk later.
Sounds good, Liam. Neely just lets him go, and it's just kind of like a, kind of
Thanks, sir.
sigh. He'll just sit
Jim?
at the table for a little bit.
I apologize if I pinged something. Go ahead, Mercy.
Gareth is probably gonna go check on Sonia.
Okay.
Make sure she's okay. Hi.
Oh, hi.
Are you okay?
Yeah, that it caught me a little off guard. I'll admit that, but I'm good now. I'm good.
Okay, we didn't mean any harm.
Oh no, I know you didn't. It was just well, I mean, the only other guy I've ever hung out with until recently was my own dad, so that whole topic was a little never happened. So
Wait, Bean.
Must
never
protect
learned
the
about the birds
bee.
and the bees. Just
Yeah,
how to
found
hunt
this
them.
wall. Must
You didn't,
protect.
you didn't learn about the pixies and the centaurs.
I mean,
Hey!
Classic.
Yara
At some
sits on
point,
the
call
bed.
it.
I mean, you do.
Not bummed.
So Yara sits on the bed and is like, well, all I know is from books, so, you know, it's still confusing to me too. But,
I know
mean-
I read one book on it downstairs. It was a little weird. I didn't want to read any
Feywild
more
Nights.
of it. I don't.
Oh,
Yeah, that was.
maiden rituals.
neat.
Yareth makes a mental note to read that later, not knowing what she's letting herself in.
This better not awaken something in me.
And there's like a moment.
Tonight.
There's a moment as
Oh,
Sonia's
God.
trying to think of a way to change the topic, and like the gears in her head are turning, and then she's like, "Wait, didn't we have a guy we needed to interrogate?"
Bing.
Oh
light bulb.
yeah.
Light bulb.
Oh yeah, we left him in toes, Cat.
Yep.
Toe!
Oh, she chose to murk his ass.
And then she like will hop out of the room, like, Toe, where are ya?
Yes.
Toe, that guy that we tied up, where did he go?
Let him go.
Oh.
Yeah, huh?
You told me to watch him, so I watched him leave.
It's the tale of having a monkey's paw. You have to be very careful of what you wish him to.
Oh, I was
have
pretty
this out
precise
upon
with
you.
Toe. He's gonna die this time.
I was gonna say, like, we were very, very precise with him and what we said and to do, like, don't let him escape and things. Toe,
Yes.
please take the man in the red cloak and go and tie him up in the kitchen and guard him so he doesn't leave this building. So,
Do not let him leave.
Toe runs off.
Into the
What
forest.
by that?
Chin slide.
He is hiding under the couch.
Oh.
He should stay there. No,
Err.
Yareth didn't say that. Sorry, that was a knee-jerk
Yeah,
reaction out
yeah.
of character.
Well, I guess all we have is the leads that Liam found now.
Yeah,
Alright.
well,
Fine.
it's done, I suppose.
Note to self: don't trust Toe with anything of importance.
I mean, he
Except
watched
for
the
saving you.
he watched the
Well,
cart fine when we fought the goblins, so I thought it would be okay. But I guess he's only good with inanimate objects.
Because
Or-
they can't run away.
Or he needs more specific instruction, considering he's a kobold and they have the mental aptitude of a rock. So, nothing against them. It's just that's just a lot of kobolds. They tend to be a little
Every
very,
kobold
very,
is like,
very linear in
That's
thinking.
racist.
Hides under the couch again.
Yeah, sanctuary.
It is unfortunate that our captive has escaped. However, we will have to trust what Liam is able to find with Cragwell Castle.
I'm sure he'll find things worthwhile.
Indeed. So that raises the question:
Sabrak will scan the room around,
what shall we do for our supposed
raises both hands and does air quotes.
downtime?
You hear the little servos going.
Right.
"Wurp, wurp, wurp."
Yara's gonna go try and extricate a scared toe from under the couch. She's gonna like you're gonna see the dragon report and get down, and she's like, "It's okay, you can come out. We're not gonna do anything."
It's like
Don't
trying to
Don't
coax
promise that.
You're trying to coax a cat out from underneath the couch. He's like
Yeah.
backed up in the corner, like.
Gareth, I'm sure he'll come out.
Sound for a
just-
kobold.
Me?
Yeah, I did. I pissed him.
I'm sure he'll come out when he's ready.
We're not mad. Well, most of us aren't.
I think we're killing the DM.
Anger radiating from Jin.
That got me. That got me.
You're welcome.
As a cat person, that got me.
Inspiration for mercy.
I
That's
already
already
have
happened.
inspiration. I'll take another one. Yeah.
It does not stack up.
I know it
Too
doesn't. I
bad.
know it doesn't. But
Unless,
like,
of course, I get your character's name wrong. That's a different.
that's fair. But yeah, she'll try and coax him out, and when it's clear that he's not coming out, and like he's there for the duration, she'll, okay, be around if you want us, and then she'll get up and she'll walk back to the group and, yeah, but he's not coming out.
Well, I know I'm probably going to be in the library doing some writing. But I did have a thought about that box we found, the chest. We still haven't done anything with that, and I do still have a key I found there as well.
I've been away from school for a while, so makes sense in order to examine the contents.
No, we've been busy, so may as well open it up, I would think.
Yes,
Where?
I believe last time he was in the kitchen.
Yes. So Elio will go and retrieve said chest and basically just bring it out to some table, probably in front of Cerise because it's the closest one.
Here, let us use your desk. Boom.
Sorry, you're making me go through and dig all the way back.
Elio
I think
is like awkwardly trying not to run in to Yalrith, and it's almost like he's sort of purposely attempting to give space.
Yareth is just moving so she can see better. She's not trying to get in Elio's way.
Mhm.
She is trying to give space.
Which makes a dance.
Well,
Yeah.
let's do that.
I was about to say Sonia was gonna lean over to whisper something to Sabrak, but then he just walked away and she's like, "Hey, later."
There's still a diagonal. You can still go that way.
Nah, it's okay. You're too close now.
Oh, I see. Well, just do a hand motion of some arcane nature. and
I do
then
not
we'll-
understand why you are waving with your hand at me.
His gestures do not correspond to any lexicon I have come across.
I believe they'd call that panic. Jin, seeing like everybody gather and that kind of stuff, is actually going to take 2 steps toward the door and just kind of like hunker down again and sit cross-legged, and then he's going to pull out that little book that he had and have Virgil just kind of try and read a page with some coaxing.
All right, yeah. So your pocket vigil is helping you figure out the words. You are actually starting to recognize a word here and there as you've been doing these lessons regularly with them.
That is no, and that's no, and that's a no. No, that's attached to a no at the end of it. Oh,
Actually, that one is on.
turns the book back the right side way up.
Oh.
but excellent in recognizing no.
Oh, I love it.
Little happy pulse.
So yeah, Elio will take the chest, and if I remember correctly, it was a locked chest.
Correct.
So Elio still has the dingy key he found, and no idea if that's the key, but he will try it at the very least.
Yep. Click, and it opens.
Wait.
That's copyright.
Yeah.
Problem.
So, inside the chest, you find 600 copper pieces, 110 silver pieces, 2 red potions, a jade statue of a frog with tiny golden orbs for eyes,
Sorry, how many potions again?
2 potions, red potions, and a green, like an emerald, but cut hexagonally. Hexagonally?
That's one.
Hexagonally. It's a hexagon.
That's a stop sign, right?
And what was the jade statue again?
It was a frog with golden orbs for eyes.
For future reference, just like
Ooh,
stop
okay.
signs are octagons, guys.
Oh,
Just
Mhm.
gonna clarify that.
Elio will business and show contents and kind of go, well, these look kind of interesting. There's money, which is money, but yeah, gem and a frog.
Quite peculiar.
Sonia's eyeing that frog with sparkle eyes.
Well, we can certainly divide up our loot, per se, with those who are interested in the items.
Alright, he will split up the money at the least. So 600 copper, 110 silver, was it?
Correct, yeah.
So what would that equal in terms of gold?
I still have the money that we got from the people playing poker in the manor, but I also don't know if that belongs to the city or not, so I'm not gonna divvy that up just yet. I'm keeping that separate.
Fair enough.
wait. I'm so confused.
We're going to
People
be making
playing
a
poker?
charitable donation.
Oh, the
In the Red Brand hideout.
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's been so long. I'm like, huh?
Yes, when Jin double kicked the doors open.
Fire!
And
Interrupted the
okay.
game of poker.
I have caught up now.
I suppose I can hold on to the emerald and statue, see if it's anything that Liam might know about in case they are items of importance. Otherwise, maybe perhaps we can sell them.
Sam is like leaning over you.
Hello, Sam.
Fascinating.
How so?
Indeed it is.
Is that an engineer module?
I wouldn't know. I'm not an engineer.
The frog?
Why? What makes you say? And he holds up the gem, assuming. Is this what you're referring to?
Designate Sabrak. Will you kindly?
Affirmative. Yeah, Elio.
He hands it to him, no problem.
So he'll take a hold of the gem in question, and then he will maneuver himself so that way he is positioned between Sonia and Yaroth and hand over, well, basically hold the gem in its metallic grasp to him.
Yeah, so as soon as it touches Sabrak's hand, you all hear from Sabrak. Not Sabrak's voice, though. Connection to command console lost. Please reestablish connection.
I hear voices that are not mine, but this is cool.
Unit damaged. Please seek engineering mobile platform immediately.
Helio will go to take the gem back. He's not like snatching it or anything, but he is gonna try and just like kind of just remove it and take it.
Yeah, so it actually, when it touched his hand, it also started glowing a little bit. And when you take it off, it stops glowing.
Are you all right, Sabrak?
I believe I am. I do not feel any worse.
Do you recall speaking just now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, it wasn't. He was talking, but he
Yeah.
recalls the sound coming from him.
Hmm. Yep, from the voice modulators.
That's interesting. I mean, I'm all intent for you to keep this on you. I just don't want it to cause any like damage or confusion to your systems. Jin, maybe you want to keep a hold of it for him.
She's like looks up for
Oh.
He's got his knees pulled up to his
Yeah.
chest. He's like, what?
He looks about for Jin and sees him. He's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were reading."
what
Point to
it
the book. It says no.
Hey,
Yes.
Jin, you want to do this?
It's a book.
Yeah. Ilya will toss Jin the gem and tell him basically, like, well, you might be a good person to keep a hold of it, considering you and Sabrak are been traveling a little bit together and whatnot. Just in case it interferes with you at all, Sabrak, I wouldn't want it to do any damage to you. Granted, I'm assuming it might give maybe some insight into some past for you, maybe. Who knows?
Jin's gonna hold up the. Sorry, you said hexagon?
Yeah.
The hexagonal command module, and he's just gonna put it in his belt pouch.
Yaros
Just so everybody can see it, so.
That's fair. Yaros gonna ask Sabrak, did you get any other sensory input from the gem when you held it?
Apart from what was regulated through my voice modulators, that was all.
And like, sorry.
The most meaningful impact that this unit had experienced was making contact with Sam in terms of recognition of past events and also what was displayed while we were inside the facility.
You did also feel this, like when you touched it, you felt it like it was reaching,
Oh, okay.
but you can't really tell, like.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's a foreign thing. Like Sabrak would try to articulate this in a way, but it's like
There was a sensation I would suppose for maybe one of organic composition compared to mine that would be essential to reaching further inside of a being in some fashion. I would say that this module is integral or a part of my creation along with the other terms of variants of my construction.
Could be for sure, yeah. Sam, you recognize what this was? Do you have any idea what he was possibly trying to do or say?
I have no clue. I just recognized it as a engineering module, but as to what that even means, I am unsure.
Ah, okay. Well, I suppose at least now we know maybe to look out for more of these gems.
Very
Should
much so.
we come across them?
Affirmative.
Sam, do you know what the frog is?
Aesthetically pleasing.
Aww.
I agree.
All right. With that, Ilya will just put the frog away and sort of, ponder.
Never mind.
Jin.
No, it's cool. Never mind.
Go for it.
Sure?
Yeah, Jin kind of just perks up a little bit and thinks about it because, like, he had been through Neverwinter and his wanders and things like that. He just kind of goes, well, engineering, branch of science and technology, I mean, if we really want to have someone look at this, I believe we should have Liam look at it.
Mm-hmm.
He may at least know somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
We're more the rugged types, but he strikes me as an academic and a scholar.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be surprising if he knows somebody that would do something with more engineering based.
Perhaps there's something down the library on these, maybe just modules. Maybe not this one in particular, but it might assist. Could always have a look.
Definitely take a look. Yaris is looking kind of thoughtful. She's still looking over Sabrak and she's like, would it be cool to learn more about this? This is far beyond anything I've ever known. Never had a reason to study it, so... And then she'll pull out her visual necklace and ask, so... Are there any books on engineering and command modules in the library, Vigil?
There is a section on engineering. Siege engineers, and building engineering, and aqueducts, and it starts listing off a whole bunch of, like, hydraulic engineering, and
she'll cut in and be like, anything specific to Warforged?
no entries found. Singular Warforged entry found.
And I guess
And that
that's the
is-
one that Sabrak read last time we were here.
Yes.
Correct.
Jin probably is going to connect the dot a little bit on this and kind of like overhearing this. Snaps the bookshot, makes his way back toward the group and talks into his bracelet for Vigil and goes, magical applications involving artificial life.
Crystal Harmonics Project. Sam
then
goes,
he
waves.
pops up Yeah. And he just kind of like shrugs. He's like, as much as holding on to this is a good idea, I actually think we should put this down in the library because only guild members can access the library.
Sure.
I don't
Yeah.
mean to treat a library like a large vault, but it's essentially a large vault.
Me as well. No, it makes sense.
I agree.
Passes it back to Elio.
Yep. Elio will just sort of take it, and he will make his way down to the library.
If as Elio makes his way, if no one's got any objections, I'm gonna head down there and look through the engineering section for anything that might
I see no harm in
correlate.
that.
Kind of need a book. She says as she just like begins to. She begins to
I gotta
walk
get
off
back in my
idiot.
native habitat of books.
Jonesing for a book.
Right?
Look at my hand. Look at my hand.
It's been too
I gotta
long,
get
man.
I get my dose of imagination.
You don't understand. It's been too long. I need knowledge. Knowledge.
It's like the thing. It was like, let me in, let me in.
So once those two leave, Sonia kind of leans over to Sabrak and Jin and goes, "So, have you guys noticed any tension between those two?"
Are you referring to Elio and Yalrith?
Yeah. I mean, I've been with Yalrith for a while, and she's usually pretty upbeat, but she's just kind of seemed a little on edge lately, and I'm a little worried.
I was gonna say, don't worry about maybe following Yalrith and myself into the library quite yet. Just maybe focus on y'all.
I would concur with your sentiments. I believe it may have been due when Yareth was pursuing that tome upon Elio's background. That may have been the source of this causation of tension.
Jin, like, no shit.
Gives Sabrak a good slap in the back. Good to go, bud. You're doing good.
Well done. Thanks,
You
Scooby.
deserve a gold star.
It's got like a little gold star sticker on his cheek.
You guys hear Cerise come up behind you, and she says, "Excuse me, monsieur. X." She holds up your contract, Jen.
He's like,
I'm afraid I don't know your name.
Jin.
Monsieur Jin. There was a woman here earlier wearing a polar bear. Her name was Regan. She was looking for you specifically. Described you perfectly. Didn't know your name. My accent is getting mixed up, but yeah.
It's okay. It's a fantasy
sorry.
accent.
Hang on.
Fantasy French.
Wearing a polar bear? This is me asking as a character, not Jin.
Oui.
Okay. Jin's like,
Perhaps an accomplice of yours?
She was 6'7".
like,
Yeah. 6'7", polar bear pelt with the head on top. Very large weapons, and yes. Bright,
do I know this?
bright white hair, and her eyes were the color of a glacier. Furious
I
typing.
personally am drawing a blank
Sorry,
on
I'm
this one.
muted.
That's fine. If I see her around town, or you see her, she was looking for you. I told her you would be returning sometime. She said she would check back.
So later out.
Sonia will lean over to Sabrak and be like, "What's a polar bear and what's a glacier?"
White bear, very aggressive, and a glacier is a very, very large block of ice that usually exceeds the size of a castle.
You guys have
Correct on both
ice bigger than
accounts.
castles here?
Affirmative.
Not here, but
In the northern climes within Luskin, there might be areas where you could find said objects.
If nothing is required of me, I'm going to get something to eat.
he like doesn't really know how to address her, so he just kind of like bows awkwardly.
She kind of returns in like a formal curtsy.
Oh no, I've dug deeper.
Oh god! He just here knocks himself out.
So, do you know this polar bear lady?
Eh?
An acquaintance from a
Asking
time,
asking
that's-
to the DM at this point, does Jin know this person? Okay.
She
well,
doesn't.
then-
But I mean, it sounds like she could be from one of the other tribes, not far from where your people are.
Fair. I mean, like, polar bear fur is pretty useful, so it's
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
you know, the dude over there with the polar bear fur, and like 15 people are all like, it's like, you're gonna have to be slightly more specific. With white hair, 2 tieflings and other people are like,
6 foot, 6'7". So
6'7".
That's
all
lady.
the Goliaths in the group.
Goliath
6'7"
with polar bear
lady.
fur, white
Polar
hair,
bear fur.
Okay,
Must
we've
be
narrowed it
good,
down to
I
like
must be
5.
good.
We're
Yeah.
good.
Must be good. I must be good.
And then
I
we
must
just-
be good. I must be good.
All you know is that hair isn't pink, so you don't have to worry about it there,
I mean,
Josh.
I was a little worried.
Not-
I'm gonna be honest.
It's not
but-
rain.
Thinking about the white hair, and I'm still worried because they're still and they're still not
The list goes on.
I know
Size alone. Size alone is not rain.
Jin's actually gonna make his way outside. Not to remove myself from this, but like he's more along the lines of if this is somebody who's looking for him to hunt him down about something, he would rather not wreck the library.
Yeah.
Um,
invisible
it's gonna
that.
be a fight.
So he's gonna communicate it to Sonya and stuff. He's like, I have no idea who this is, and if it's trouble, I will be just outside.
Okay, if it is trouble, shout really loud and we will come and help. Unless we're in the library, then we won't hear you. But maybe just shout extra loud and maybe we will.
He'll feel
There's a
it,
chance.
and he'll just kind of like nod to each of them and then make his way out.
Mhm. Okay.
She
At
bows.
that point, and just leaves.
Everyone starts bowing for no reason.
What do we do? The
No,
Brack will
and
just
Galroth just comes
give it
there
a-
like, what the hell are y'all doing?
Right?
practicing a bows.
Y'all need some sort of god.
Sonya and Sabrak both bow at each other and the horns like bang on the metal and it's just
Dong.
Ah, harmonics.
Sonya's like, my hat!
oh no, it's stuck!
Oh jeez, making
Oh,
dents
oh, oh,
in his
oh, I'm
body.
so sorry.
Oh no. Upon
No,
seeing
no,
Jin
no,
sort
no,
of leave,
no.
Sabrak will divert its attention back to Sonya. So
Going back to our previous topic in regards to the tension between Elio and Yareth, have you some formulation of where we might be able to resolve this issue?
I think maybe if they just talked, we could maybe fix it. Like, they're both in the library right now, so... Ooh, okay, Yao taught me about this a while back. I haven't gotten to do it yet. We could spy on them.
Somewhere, somehow, Yareth is so fucking proud right now.
Espionage.
If that's another word for it,
Friendly.
yeah.
That is one way to say spying.
That makes sense. Okay, here, let's go.
Very well.
And
dunk, 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 dunk.
destroy the stream quality. Oh wow, she didn't even go in the basement.
Shush! She did. Was making life easy for you.
She was just lurking.
And so yeah, it doesn't like fly across the screen. Okay, stream quality's gonna drop for a second while everybody moves around.
I heard
Alright.
everything.
Star wipe.
Yeah, stop saying Star Wipe. I gotta make those manually, man.
Shade.
They got rid of Star Wipe in Premiere. Like,
They did.
it doesn't exist. I had to manually make one for the episode that I did that in.
Wow.
You gotta resort to like the PowerPoint.
Exactly, like
Just that
PowerPoint's got
transition.
it. I know, like, it's a big no-no for using Star Wipes in the professional industry, like, but
If it's a
Whatever.
joke.
It's a
I mean, if
meme
it's a-
here, right?
exactly.
We're gonna change that.
It's
Alright,
okay,
well.
we're bringing it back.
Oh, I
Bringing
need
it back. Ice Chasers edition.
Guess we can do what Yalrith and Elio were doing while all that conversation was going on.
Absolutely.
I don't know where Yalrith went. Oh, she's in the wall. Okay, there.
Yeah.
No clip.
No clip.
Alright, I gotta use the
She-
washroom real quick, but since I'm not actually here in this room yet, stay within the top left corner preferably, or you're not gonna be visible.
Okie dokie.
AKA, don't move your butts.
You got from here to like here.
That's your range.
And
Got
then
it.
the top is here. And give the stream a
Okay.
few seconds because that's not gonna be just frames. Okay, I'll be right back.
Yaris is stood kind of murmuring to Vigil, just like she's looking at this section in front of her to the left of her. I don't want to ping the map. And,
Under the Elio.
yeah, the section under Elio is like, what's here again?
God, you're expecting me to remember?
Yeah. I mean, no, but I mean, no, if you can't.
You're
but-
asking to be taken to engineering stuff, so let's just say that's where you are right now.
Yep. And she'll start just like nosing through, looking for anything like particularly interesting or familiar with the terms she's heard. Because like Yaris reads pretty fast.
Mm.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff on engineering, but a lot of it's like civil engineering and stuff to do with dams and roads. Nothing really at the advanced nature that you're looking for within this crystalline nature.
She wasn't hopeful, but figured if anyone was going to take a look, like it should
It's
at
in a
least
book.
be.
Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, I understand that reference. But yeah, she would just be going through different books, and eventually she'll put her book down. Just kind of, she'll be sat at a table, put her snout in her hand, and just be. I feel like this might be useless.
Don't say that. Keep on the search.
Well, Elio hears you. To
Yeah.
which he will approach Yalrith wherever she may be. Is she still in the hall there, or where are you sitting her?
I guess she would be probably sat down here at like this bench or something at the bottom, just like pile of books that she's been nosing through.
Elio will just sort of creep his way to like, the last bookshelf and sort of gently lean upon it. He's kind of like fiddling with a necklace that has a silver ring upon it, and kind of just goes through like, it's not useless, not to look.
Yaris has been so absorbed that she actually jumps, but not because it's Elio, just because she wasn't expecting anyone to talk, and she'll turn around and
Sorry.
no, I can't find anything. That's why I said I didn't
Oh.
think anyone was close enough to hear me. To myself, and you can see she looks nervous, but she's not angry. She like things aren't as fraught.
Elio just kind of has like one of those kind of like neutral smiles on. It's just like, it doesn't quite reach my eyes, but at least I'm just kind of trying to give you a pleasant face. And he goes, oh well. He points to his just slightly pointed ears. Faye, hearing, little, it's rather good, and we are the only people down here, so.
Yaris does that fair nod, and like she's not upset, but she's like, once he said that, she's like she has that she's not gonna apologize at the moment. She's like, I said what I said.
No, it doesn't even seem like he's waiting for anything. It was more just, yeah, he just wanted to reassure. But it's like he's pondering whether or not he should say something. Do you just want to be alone while you read, or?
In all honesty, I'm pretty much done here. There doesn't seem to be anything bar the book that Sabrak already found. Unless we want to build a dam, I guess I could probably do that now.
Yeah, you think you could probably try your hand at building a dam pretty good?
Elio kind of ponders for a moment more, and like there's some clear, like, should I do this? Should I not do this? Kind of on his face. And he goes, I need to record and write down my account of things for something that Liam asked of me. You're a scholar. Would you mind assisting me with that?
So, when Elio says this, Yaris is abject joy at like knowledge and like the chance to be the person to write down said knowledge. But then she gets a little reticent and a little wary and is like, I didn't think you wanted me to know.
Elio will basically just kind of put a finger up as if to like hold on a second. He will go to the place where the book is, which is outside of Megan's rules, so I can't go there.
I mean, I'm here now, so you can move. At the time, I could not move the map if you guys moved, so you'd be off screen.
Elio will go off towards the right.
I was like, do you know what? I'm intrigued. I'm gonna follow. He's caught me with knowledge. He's caught me with the scholarly. It's found my own weakness.
Elio will pull out a familiar book from the stacks and pass her the book and goes, I need to tell my side of this. And he just stares at her like, just right at her as if to say, like, I know exactly what I'm asking you.
She takes the book and looks down at it and is, oh.
And on that bombshell, we're going to take a break.
Like 2 minutes after I had to go to the washroom.
Perfect
Of
timing.
course, right?
Yeah.
Can you hear adventure calling? Do you hear it beckon? Choose your fate, the dice are falling. Chase your destiny. Traveling with your companions, forming your own story. Facing dungeons, fighting dragons, live your legacy. Searching for a greater purpose, carrying the burden of a pain-filled mystery, healing through the comfort of companionship.
And we're back.
Nice.
Welcome, welcome.
Yay.
Welcome to the Drama Llama show.
Hey, everyone's a llama.
But yes, Elio will pass the book to Yalrith and basically go, Liam has asked me to tell my side of what's in this book.
And she'll look down at the book and place a hand on the cover. Feel it's only fair I should tell you I was going to read this behind your back. So I appreciate not having to do that and cause even more shit.
I appreciate the honesty despite the deception, I suppose.
I wasn't planning on it now. I really did come down here to read engineering
No,
books.
I gather. No, Yalrith. I feel we've gone off on a wrong page. No pun intended.
That does get a little snicker from Yalrith, it does.
Elio just kind of chuckles. In how we interact and whatnot. So consider this me doing my best to reach out, I suppose. As we get into this, you'll maybe understand a bit of how I am, and maybe I will get to understand a bit of how you are, so it might be mutually beneficial to us to maybe learn a bit about each other, considering we are rather different.
Yeah, we are. That's true.
Elio will just sort of usher her towards the table, like the little table that he was sitting at before, and as they go along, he's like, well, I will start with telling you that I'm over 180 years old.
Garrus responds, holy fuck!
As it fills the entire library.
Yeah, that's when we get downstairs.
Elio just kind of smirks and just nods and goes, yeah, so if I seem like an all-knowing, crusty bastard, it's kind of because I am. And I will try not to throw out the know-it-all attitude. I promise you, it's not because I feel I'm better or anything like that. It's a just simple, I've seen shit go wrong too many times to count, and I just don't want to see it happen again to people that I'm trying to create new friendship and bonds with, so regardless of professional standard or otherwise.
Garrus like, I'm a tenth of your age.
I'm sorry, you're how old?
I'm only 18.
Shit. That would that explains a lot. Yep, that explains a lot. I would like to say I don't remember when I was 18, but unfortunately I do, and it wasn't great. But yeah, like I say, we have differences, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean we can't maybe try to get along.
Garrus takes a deep breath and like looks up at the ceiling and is like, okay, so while we're being honest, my problem is I don't need a dad. I have one, had to leave him and my mum, because my village is a bunch of shits who they didn't like me reading. They didn't like that I didn't want to become a huntress or fucking birth the babies or whatever I was supposed to do.
Elio just like has this kind of like, he's smiling and he's like he kind of almost wants, it almost looks like he wants to laugh, but he's more just smiling in a kind of like all-knowing type of way. This not in the sense like he knows better, but in the sense of like he relates. Doesn't interrupt. It doesn't interrupt, so.
But yeah, I think Yaris would understand that. She'd know that his smile wasn't malicious or in
No,
any
it's not.
way. Yeah,
It's like, I get you.
yeah, I think she'd understand that, and she'd just be like, she'd carry on to say, all I wanted to do was sit and read and learn because the world felt too big for just we did at home. There had to be more to life than just hunting and making sure the village kept going. I mean, we still needed to do that. Yeah, I get it, but there were other people to do it. We never looked at, the past or learned to do things differently. Like, no one in my clan uses magic. But despite the fact we're literally descended from magical creatures, like, what? Like, that boggled my mind. And then they were all like, oh, you need to get married. Well, we bonded to this dude. And I'm like, that dude's icky. No
Not
thanks.
fam. Not fam.
I was not feeling that. I was not feeling that at all. And, so there were arguments, because, you know, as you've seen, I'm not exactly telling people to go fuck themselves. There were many arguments to the point where my parents were told either let me go or suffer.
I'm just going to move Yalrith and Elio over to their little table.
Yeah. Yareth will follow while
Oh shit. Want me to do a stealth check? Because I imagine Sabrak and Sonia were in this hallway eavesdropping so far.
I don't think Elio's paying attention to Yalrith, so you wouldn't even have to like even bother.
Well, I
he's
mean,
not even
guess
listening.
if given your passives, so Yalrith, your passive.
Passive perception is only a 10.
10?
Yeah.
My passive's 18, so.
So you notice Sonia like pressed up against the wall, like, oh,
I'm electing that he's not in his passive perception, his naturally perceptive ways, because he's just
Definitely, as you walk by, you do hear like the shuffle of Sabrak.
It doesn't really phase Elio. There's not like there's anything here he's trying to hide, so he just carries on and goes to sit.
Yeah, the elders were like, bring your daughter in or you lose out on benefits. I'm not entirely sure what they were. I didn't personally see the benefits of living in that village, but my parents, though they loved me and I generally had a good life with them, they were bound to the village and what they were mired in the tradition, so they sent me on my way. That was when I was just after my 16th birthday. And then I was travelling along and fell through a portal to the Feywild, where I met Mother and found that I could do magic. So, yeah, and then Sonia and I have been travelling ever since. I still love my parents, but I'm mad that they didn't fight for me.
Well, I can relate to being in a village of people who refuse to change. My people are warriors. We always have been. We don't let our women fight. We actually hinder them from it in many of my villages and tribes. Mine was slightly more proactive because my mother was stubborn, I think is the best way to put it. And we're very immersed in that way of thinking, in a way. And just in the sense of like, it's who we are, it's what we do, it's tradition, it's, you know.
Yaris nodding along and agree in understanding of just like, oh yeah, I've heard that one.
Male thumping BS, so to speak. So I get that. I get being different. Where most of the boys my age wanted to get swords and do the sparring and do the fighting, I liked plants and animals, and I wanted to heal, and that was seen as just no. But I didn't care what they thought, and thankfully I did have a mother who allowed me to be myself to a degree and kind of go from there. My people migrated to the Feywild, just I don't even know. I wasn't told. I was a child when we moved, so I don't even know. But we basically we moved to the Feywild, probably just for exploring and need of curiosity. And we weren't very well received here amongst the humans. So
I know that feeling too.
It's a common issue with the Fae and any race that isn't human. But then again, our races do it to humans too. It's everybody does it to everybody. It's not just limited to humans bad, but that wasn't always my way of thinking, which is part of what you will read in that book. Which
I'm
is
not gonna judge you on whatever I read.
I know, and I'm past caring, I suppose, about being judged. I suppose it's more of a just stuff I don't want to remember. Granted, Liam informed me that which I was unaware, when the Fae die, they go back to the Feywild. I've had family die, and I thought they were gone, and now I know they're not. So it's been a bit heavy to take, but
And Gareth cocks her head and is like, "Is that a good thing?"
it is a good thing. Yes, my mother was one of those
yes,
people,
of course.
so I thought she was gone, and to know that she's not is kind of heartening in a way. It gives you hope, or gives me hope, I suppose. Even if I might not ever see her, at least I know she's safe, alive, untortured, and all that crap. But yeah, this book in particular speaks of a war between humans and Fae, and I was a big part of it. And he kind of pauses. It's like a struggle for him almost, because it's like he's having to delve back into this thing that causes him great pain and great anguish to remember. And he'll look at her back up to him and goes, I wasn't kidding when I said it was a part of my life that I didn't want to remember. It's something I wasn't prepared to have to be injected back into thinking about. I lost someone very dear to me in that war. I would love to go into more details right about it now, but I figure we can just go through, and I don't know if you feel like penning down things. You might have a better hand than I do for writing.
Yareth will pull out her trusty. Wait, she does have it, doesn't she? Yeah, her ink and pen and a bag, a sheaf of parchment is like, I'm always ready to write something. And I'll be happy to take down your side of things.
With that,
Sorry.
perhaps we can flop to Jin's side and then...
Yeah, because Yareth and
Yeah.
Elio are just going to carry on chatting about the
Absolutely.
book, and yeah.
The look from Josh says it all. What
Oh,
I
Jin's
would
side?
say,
Wait, what?
quick thing before that, hearing that, I'm sure Sonia would be just like, I don't know if she noticed that Elio probably gave him a little side glance as they walked by, but she's like, okay, yeah, no, they're good, and starts pushing him down the hallway. 1 second, I want to see how loud we are for clanking down. Both of you here at this time with your passives, for Sonia at least.
Oh, so surprised why he redeems himself a little bit there.
Oh, good lord.
As well, like someone
Yeah.
should be up there in case Jin needs backup in a fight.
Agreed.
Yareth lifts her head from like what they're doing, is just like, you hear something?
You're hearing the clip clop of hooves and quiet, like, come on.
Oh.
All right, now I'll give Megan a moment to move the camera.
Yeah,
Mhm.
get over to Jean. Oh, it's a lady.
Oh boy.
So, Jin, as you are out front, you hear the telltale signs of boots on gravel. As you see this 6'7" woman approaching the schoolhouse. She indeed has a polar bear fur draped over her shoulders, and it's kind of flopped, like with the head up over top. She's got a big, you assume to be a great axe on her back. As she approaches, she sees you and points and says, "Are you the Doom Herald?"
He just
Right. My
nods.
feminine voice isn't that great, so just.
Insert here.
the Doom Herald?
You have to do it.
There is the same effect.
The Game Grumps Zelda voice.
Yes,
Are you the Doom
exactly.
Herald? Slurp.
Slurp.
Doom Herald.
He has just kind of like a moment of. Yeah.
Why were you not at the appointed place?
Now he's confused. He just stares at her and blinks a couple times.
She sees the confusion on your face and goes, "Did you not speak with the Elder Dragon? This is a function of the Doom Herald. When you first get your title."
I was cast out and left to wander.
Oh. I do have to say, chasing you down was actually kind of fun. Hasn't been this much of a hunt in a very long time.
He's like thinking back from the past 3 months. He's like, I haven't really been running. I mean, do you want me to? No. This is a petty thought. Raises his hands, turns his palms toward her, and goes, "What now?"
She will extend her hand and say, "I am Regan Walsh."
Takes your hand and attempts to shake it.
I am also have the title of Hope Bringer. My tribe and your tribe are separate but one, and she kind of like, yin yang kind of.
Mm.
And she says, "From my tribe, a Hope Bringer comes, and from yours, the Doom Herald. And when we meet, we are to create a great dragon slayer."
Oh, she
Okay.
likes you.
Oh. Sonia, she wants to
hold on
make
a minute.
dragons with you. Oh.
Create a great dragon slayer. Like a child?
Yes.
No.
At least let's
I
go to a
haven't-
dungeon beforehand.
Yeah, like, take me to Dungeon and a Dragon first, bitch. But Jin flat out says no, and then looks at her and goes, "I don't know you. I have never known any of this beyond where we come from, and you drop this in my lap when you show up and claim one thing or another. Sure. It sounds like something that our clans would do. It sounds like something that has been dreamt up by some decrepit old fool sitting in the back of the cave, but I became a Doombringer, or a Doom Herald, through circumstances that nearly led to the destruction of the clan. Not chosen.
The Doomed Herald is typically chosen by the Elder Dragon.
Not me.
Interesting.
Being Doom Herald is literal for myself, not a title.
Yes, you're supposed to herald the doom of the dragons.
But not my own clan.
Of course, not your own clan. Oh no!
Oh no! Oops!
Sonia tackles you. Not Yareth!
Not my Christian deity server! You're welcome to come into the guild. I honestly don't know how to treat half of this.
Well, it's not something we must do immediately, but
I mean,
let's discuss this
biological
further.
clock's ticking, boy. You better get on the clock.
I cannot return to my tribe until I have conceived of the Dragon Slayer.
Imogen is like, ah.
That's manipulation.
Mother.
Insert
End
expletives.
episode.
Although I am happy to wander these lands for a time, if you need to get acclimatized to the idea.
It's like long, awkward exhale. He's like, oh, Sonya's gonna have fun with this. This is called Karma Gen. use this. And he just like opens the door for her and just like, again, slight awkward bow.
She returns in an awkward bow fashion. Two tall people being awkward.
No, oh god.
It's adorable.
And
I'm
when
sorry.
she says that, he shuts the door and runs!
That's what we call a bait and switch, folks.
Wait, like actually, or
No.
okay?
I'll hit the ground and run.
He's gonna follow after. He's gonna be like, oh, this is gonna be so much fun to explain. And he's like, this is the hallway. This is the spot where. Oh, that's a thing. And he points at Sam. Don't touch that. Don't put your fingers anywhere near that.
Sam goes,
Aww.
It's waves.
The rest are down in the library, and I am contractually obligated to say that I am under contract.
Sam says, Jin, your friend is aesthetically pleasing.
Sam, the robot's hitting on your girlfriend.
No, this is definitely one of those things where just like, yeah.
You've made correct analysis, Sam. Put that in your bag.
That one you can keep. Is Toe still under the couch? Because now I really
Yes.
need to let out some frustration. Come
You're
here, you
welcome.
little shit!
What if your super
My
hot
arm
girlfriend
covered
can
in
just lift up the
scratches.
couch?
Oh, I thought about it, but I don't want to damage anything.
Just toe.
Just tough.
Just toe, and repeatedly, and I don't know when I'm going to stop.
That poor little bean.
You wait till Yara sees you doing that. She's gonna flip. Leave my little dragon body alone, you. Blah.
Actually, you know what? He is going to take advantage of this. He's going to look at her for a couple seconds, and then just ask the boy question, can you read?
No.
He's like, inward Jin is like, yes! I've got one up on her already. Yes!
Our
I know
tribe,
the word no.
our tribe only exchanges stories orally.
This is going to be so much more awkward. Just gonna slowly slink and sit home.
James,
Just
do you think we
slump
should go and save Jin?
I think we might have to.
It's like a little sign that comes up, help me. It's very poorly written. It's like HALPP exclamation mark. And then
Very
it was
good
like
try.
MYE.
Yeah, little pocket vigil. Good try, Jin. You're making
have
progress.
the right letters in most of that.
Save my souls, except it's spelled S-O-L-E.
Half of them are facing the right direction, at least.
No, all the E's are backwards. They're all threes.
Yes. And there's four sticks.
Yeah, you
So, Sonya and Sabrak, when you step out, there is this Amazon of a woman standing next to Jin.
She's like, yeah, I'm really happy that they seem to be getting Oh! The polar bear lady!
Oh, that's a
I
polar
agree.
bear.
Jin just looks at Sonya and Sabrak and goes, Sabrak, Sonya, wife to be, Sabrak, Sonya.
And she
And
goes,
he just looks at the pair of them with that look like, I am not going to try explaining this right now.
The Braxor processes this for a moment. You see the little optics go line on, looks at Jin.
Well, congratulations are in order.
She puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "This isn't a marriage.
There you go.
Oh.
This is just for a child."
Ah.
well,
Prolonging of progeny.
hugs. Hello, hug.
Yeah,
You
she crouches down and like then stands up with you in her arms. So you're
Oh my
like,
god.
You're very good at hello hugs. But I might
just the
need to
legs.
go on the ground now.
puts you back
I can't
down.
feel my hooves.
Thank you.
And then she looks at Sabrak and goes, "Fascinating. You wear so much armor inside all the time."
Oh no, that's him.
I am comprised of this construction.
Oh, a moment then. Sabrak, do this.
Lifts his hand and you sort of see the digits go more like flexibility style, like all the way back, all the way curled in.
Interesting. Oh, I've not seen one of your kind before.
A Warforged? Jin doesn't see like the word got tossed around a bit, but he didn't really put it in. And then he looks. Sorry, what's her name again?
Regan.
Regan. He looks right at Regan and he goes, "Until we figure out his past and he is whole once more in memories, our stuff will wait."
Understood.
I'm laying down the law of this crazy freaking cult nonsense.
Do you?
This is very much one of those things
That
where,
was
like,
the last game. The cult was the last game where they kept dying.
Jin's whole thing is like the contractual obligation. He doesn't actually care about what was brought up for the guild, but he did promise a dead man to help Sabrak, and that's more important to him. So Sabrak could compute that very easily. So, because like I believe his last words were like, "Help him."
Yeah.
And then
fine. Yes, insert trademark like bargain bin chest burster here.
Yeah, we did. Yep.
Was it? She looks at you, Jin, and says, "Well then, would a year be sufficient?"
For Blade. But if it takes a little longer, it takes longer.
I will track you down again in a year.
Kind of like looks at her. He's like, "There's a little bit of mischief there." He's like, "Could I get away with a head start?"
No, you couldn't.
I will find you, and I will breed you.
This is the first episode of fucking.
So she gives you a little jade wolf. So she says, "Just a token to remember me." And then she gives an awkward bow to Sonia and Sabrak.
Wait! Before you go, do you eat meat? We got here. You just see Sonya like sprint off, and she's gonna put together a little kind of like napkin with the endless meat, like a scrape some off.
Sonya on tile going.
Yeah.
Like a kitten.
Here you go for the road.
Thank you very much. And she gives you another hug. She picks you up and then puts you down. Puts a hand on your shoulder, Jin, and says, "I will see you in a year."
So if I dual class and I get the 10 feet and the 10 feet on this one, and then I sprint, I go timeless spot, I should be able to outrun.
You hope.
Do you know how they're doing Tokyo?
This is when Sonya and Sabrak do the slow look at Jin of like, what the hell was that about?
Oh, he flat out like waits till she leaves, tucks the Jade Wolf, will go away and goes, "I certainly don't need the wolf to remind me of her. Remind the fact that my dick is going to be hunted down in a year." And he just kind of like shrugs and goes, "I need a drink."
An interesting timeline to have 365 days worth in order to before you are forced to procreate.
So from down the hall, a little bottle comes rolling to your feet. You turn, you see Toe, and then he runs away.
Oh.
He picks up the bottle, pops the cork off. "You live another day."
Placated the beast.
But he barks back at him in Draconic.
It is mead.
You live another 2 days.
Skull! Anyway,
That's what's up.
he just the whole bottle.
Just on one
Sonya
go.
goes to and he.
I've seen him do this before. It is quite miraculous.
I mean, it's quite impressive.
Finishes and just kind of like with a little bit of the fog, and then sets the bottle down. Yep, that happened.
Belch's fire comes out.
I have no idea who that woman was.
She seemed quite intent upon having you as her partner.
Mm-hmm. So, Jin just flat out word vomits the whole thing. He's like, apparently, mirror. My clan is part of the mirror. A representative of one side to a representative of the other side. Dragon Slayer. Like, the whole thing just entirely descriptive in detail, as well as his own inflections with it, where he's like, the guesstimate on this one is that his brother, the person who died, was the one that was supposed to be in this role. And because of the things that happened, and then just what happened, he was given a very literal title of Doom Herald, but because of the way that it was a hope for him to step into his brother's role, but because of the ostracization and therein banishment that followed, he just flat out left. Instead of stepping into this honorary title. So now he's kind of like, it sounds like something my clan would do, but this is way too out of the blue. And I'm kind of also obligated with... I'm busy. Not now, I'm busy!
Well, I'm
Snoosu later.
I'm sorry to hear about your brother, but right. Yalrith mentioned a book that one second. She's gonna go into their room, dig through the like pile of books that I'm sure is in here, because I know specifically that she mentioned one book that she was reading, and it was the Lightbringer one. And once Sonia is able to find that.
So yeah, all you hear is like books flying in the back.
No. These are Yalrith's books. She's gently like, open. Nope. I ain't messing.
Liam did show you that the books were indestructible.
I would know. I would know.
Yeah, but Sonia would have gone through this before. There would have been a time in the year they were together when Sonia would have like knocked over a book and Yalrith would have gone like
Just
either
completely.
Realistic.
yeah, it wouldn't have been fun.
Jin stands
like-
beside Sabrak and petting the little sheep, although yay big. Just totally absent-mindedly.
He spoke.
It is book. He's
His
like,
book. We actually like here. I don't know if it's just gonna be the same. I didn't read it. Yalrith kind of gave me the
A synopsis.
yeah, that's a word.
That's not a
it
word.
means summary.
I was trying to think of
Basically.
a fantasy version of Sparks Notes, but I couldn't.
The
It's
Tasha's notes.
It's Sabrak's notes.
Tasha's,
Yeah.
Surprise.
Tasha's notes.
The Tasha's Note version of it. But maybe we'll have more information, and you'll in a year you'll be a bit more aware. You don't have to read it if you don't want to, but
Not
could help.
that I don't want to read it. It's I can't. And he pulls out the book that he's been working on, and it's like, it's
It is.
literally like a primer.
A is for Asimar,
We'll go with that.
Of that book.
and the Sea Kobold Run.
Yes.
Sonia's sitting there. She like thinks for a second, and then goes, "Okay." She grabs your hand, and she leads you over to the couch here.
Onto the little pinky finger.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she sits you down, and she's gonna start reading it to you.
Aww.
Sure. He just like sits and crosses one knee over the other and sits there and intently listens.
Story
occasion-
time.
So the book highlights two tribes.
Clearly written by an outsider.
Yeah, absolutely. Who had visited and recorded some of the tales told, and it highlights how the Doom Herald from one tribe and the Hope Bringer meet to create a Dragon Slayer. Basically, have a child that will be the greatest Dragon Slayer. And they are born every 100 years or so, and they go and they make sure that the evil dragon population stays down. There's a mention of an elder dragon that is basically, there's two elder dragons that are guardians of these tribes, and that the Doom Herald and the Hopebringer consult them before going on their pilgrimage to find each other.
Cool. Didn't get those notes.
Kind of left in a hurry, so I was like,
Tribe's dying, they banished me, angry with gods, other things happened. I really screwed Spooch on this one.
Chatty Pete left that part out.
Yeah, dying brother, coughing up blood, left with niece. Very bitter memories, kind of. Can I just, like, put this title over here and just bury it with the books from Yara?
everybody's finding books they don't like to read here.
Except for me.
Would you like to know more?
Smashes the S button for F. What do you mean that's it? He's very solemn about it. He's not having a good time with processing this because part of it is he's actually like, he's mad at the situation, not at anybody in himself. Or even himself. He's like, it would have been nice to know this. It would have been nice that the elders could have actually explained some of this, especially to the pair of them, and the fact that he left all of his family, and his family's response to it was, well, yeah, you have to go away. Because that's all it was, because things didn't get passed from his brother to him. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, crap got admitted! Ah! This is the worst game of 100-year telephone ever! How do you miss that part?
Well, we could. You said you wanted to wait until... Actually, you didn't say that the whole thing. You said you were too busy. Well, when you're finished whatever is keeping you busy, we could join you and we could go talk to this Elder Dragon person.
Well, I didn't mean the busy part. I simply meant that I'm contractually obligated by a death vow.
You're a little too far away from your mic right now,
Yeah, you're
Joe.
very quiet.
The idea is I'm not contractually obligated to a piece of paper. I'm obligated to a dying soul's wish to assist Sabrak. So
That is correct.
whether or not this takes a year or two, she's going to find that I'm rather obstinate and stubborn.
You?
Wow.
Only some odd number of our characters have this particular trait. At least half.
More than half. 3 out of 5.
You know what?
On
I'm gonna
av-
go with 6 out of 6 on this one because
On average, 2.5.
Well, at least you know when she's coming back. I mean, she could have just left and not told you at all. That isn't fun. But yeah, I mean, you have a year to think things over, and we're making really good progress on finding out stuff about Sabrak, so maybe it won't take a year.
Correct.
True, and then I can proceed to run.
It seems from her stature she would be tracking you down relentlessly.
That makes the game more fun. In truth, I find myself not caring. This is the first I'm hearing of another tribe. If this is something that has been happening for a long time, I'm going to require a lot more time and a lot more information. If there is an evil dragon number that it requires a certain child to be promised to a fate that could potentially lead to them being eaten, I wouldn't wish my own child to be subjected to a fate that I wouldn't do. If that makes sense.
I would say the safekeeping of one's progeny is important. It's imperative.
Indeed. I mean, the prospect of fighting a dragon is legendary in itself, especially an adult dragon, but
It was just from your tone there, Jen.
Sabrak will kind of meander behind the couch, and he'll go to Jin's side.
I understand from certain perspectives. It is of destiny that you felt is forced upon you. Is that a correct assumption of mine?
it is. It feels like it's a destiny that, while I can accept it or fight against it in this stage, it doesn't truly touch base with my thoughts right now. Everything's very jumbled. It was very sudden.
I would agree.
Looming over you guys, just like, this is a fascinating exchange.
Indeed it is.
Indeed.
You're more than welcome to join us.
Also, excellent intro.
Huh?
Splendid impression.
Sam's opening words to
Aesthetically pleasing.
this one is aesthetically pleasing.
She was very pretty.
Affirmative.
And I didn't think a polar bear would be white. When you said bear, I pictured, like, a bear. So that was surprising.
Well, considering they hunt in the tundra with snow, you know what snow is, right?
I do know snow.
Yeah, they have to blend into their surroundings because large predator, flat land.
They can't all
There
be
are
bears
also-
with a star hat and and cape.
Hey.
There are also
Unfortunately.
foxes that share that white attribute.
Ooh, sounds cute. But no, I get camouflage. That's why I wear these colors.
Exactly. Animals and everything else needs to adapt to their surroundings to ensure their best survival. Going back to your predicament there, Jin, I believe that I had heard from even Enzen before he passed away is that there are certain things that are fated to happen in one's life. However, it does not necessarily mean we have to be transcribed to it. Perhaps during this time of when we are uncovering more of our pasts, understanding our place in the world, this so-called legend that has been foisted upon you, perhaps it may not need to be coming about. It is your life in order to pick the direction, the route that you will choose of where you lead your life. You need not be forced to accept this. You may change it, alter it.
I mean, you're not wrong. And I do enjoy Trox, but I cannot help feel that there is a small, yay big Elio in the back of my mind going, just go kill the dragon. There's an
Somewhere.
evil dragon. Don't send your kid to do it yourself.
Down in the library, Ela's like, I feel the urge to call someone a bitch. Not Jin, something close to Jin. And then just say, screw it, do it yourself.
Yeah, I was looking so confused as Elio looked around.
Hence a disturbance in the
Fake.
directional
Okay.
intensity of velocity in this direction.
In the linear timeline.
Yes.
Also, to Barry, chef's kiss. Beautiful. He's very confused, but he's not sure whether he's gonna accept it or if he finds it amusing. There's a little bit of a mischievous streak to him.
Look, I've planned this since session 0. It's just taking this long to implement things.
Oh, I get it.
I'm a slow burn storyteller.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Until he suddenly plops the steaming hot mass in your lap.
I mean,
And it's like,
it was a 6'7" leggy mass, and the fucking robot beat me to complimenting her. So kind of
Nothing has
singularity.
been.
the
There's been
singularity has
grown
occurred.
But
and
Jin's kind of more along the lines of he's like culling evil dragons. What constitutes a dragon being evil? Like,
I believe it's their color.
That's
There are
racist.
tales that the chromatic dragons are that of evil intention.
now
Metallics are
that's
friendly.
information that would be appealing. Now,
Where's
if we go
Yaris?
to meet this elder dragon and it turns out to be a chromatic color, that means I would be doing the devil's way.
I like gold.
I like silver personally.
Ooh, good metal. Good conductivity.
copper.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
just-
pretend that I understand what you talk about and agree.
Just
I'm just
nod
like-
to the looming robot behind you.
I just
Aw.
looked on my character sheet. It's like, wait, did I make Yaris a chromatic dragon? Yeah, okay, she's silver dragon lineage, so dragon.
Yeah,
lineage.
you're fine.
Although I can't. You might see a grown dragon boy cry when she finds out. I don't know how she's gonna take this when she finds out.
That's why we're not going to tell her.
Jokes on you.
Fair, I
She's my
mean,
best
fair.
friend. I tell her everything. No.
Jin then immediately looks at the group and goes, "We're not telling the Dragonborn, are we?"
You already have two that would say no, so I do not think in a democratic system that my negation of it would mean anything.
Jin looks at Sam. This conversation will not be uttered again, correct?
If that is Sabrak's desire.
I shall respect your wishes there, Jin.
/ command input. Deny. This conversation 001110011. One sec,
Yeah,
guys.
you just see the citron colored lenses of Sabrakar flash on and off, and then they suddenly turn blue.
He goes. Jin corrects himself. He goes, "Not yet. I think this is going to require much more information."
Understandable.
Because Yaris knows she's read it, but she's like,
It means nothing to her, yeah.
Yeah, you aren't
This
aware
means
that
nothing
one
to
of them
me.
is in
Oh.
the party.
Yep.
Because I remember you were like, I think you were reading it, and she was like, I don't like the idea of like someone killing dragons, like being born to kill dragons, and that Sonia is thinking of that right now. In that is probably the only reason she's okay not telling Yalrith, is she knows that that would not make her happy, as well as you. That deception earlier was me doing a Cinderay check of as you were talking about like tradition and purpose and like not necessarily having to follow said purpose, as well as like parents doing things themselves instead of getting their kids to do things. She was getting more and more a bit like tense shoulder discomfort, and now she's just gonna go like, yeah, we won't tell her. I should probably put the book back then before she notices it's gone.
Let her read it if she wants. This isn't something I'm ashamed of, nor something I'm not willing to talk about, but this is one of those things where it doesn't need to be brought up.
It requires time.
Sam comes and sits on the couch, and it literally tilts.
Almost.
This
Thanks, Sam.
is comfortable.
Sam,
Yes.
you should sit in the middle so the couch is more comfortable and not tipping.
Now I know how Sonia felt on that card at the beginning.
The couch does not appear to be big enough for me. There's a bench. I will sit on that. Gets up.
Carefully. Or not.
Oh, my energy budget's about to go through the roof.
This bench has less cushioning.
It's not as comfortable.
That bench has suffered catastrophic damage.
Yeah, you actually hear the bench going like under the weight of this construct.
Glorious.
I believe we will have to speak with Liam in order to find comfortable furniture for Sam.
To be fair, I did do a roll on it, and I was like, it's probably about a 10% chance that Jin's gonna find a way to tell Yaworth. Rolls an 8%. So, probably gonna ambush Yaworth with this at some point. Be like, hey, funny story. Anyway.
So, you know those dragon things? I'm sure you haven't heard of them, but...
No, not
Thing
one.
is,
You know those things that you idolize that fly around the sky, breathe fire, generally do some other stuff? Yeah, apparently I'm gonna spawn something that's gonna murder a whole bunch of them. Anyway, bye!
Yaris like debating on whether or not she's gonna take out Jin's ball.
I mean, that's what our wonderful Lightbringer's hoping to do too.
If he cannot procreate... Oh, Megan, that took my brain a second to
Thank you.
It's okay, if Jin dies, this is over.
Yeah, in the middle of the night. Never.
I mean, if I just castrate him, he doesn't need to die.
Apparently, male mentality on this one. I would rather die! Anyway.
If that is your wish.
Meanwhile, those women just stab me. Just take it. Don't need it. Take it.
I know, we should have a good, like, about 10 minutes left if we want... If Elio and Yaworth had anything else they wanted to discuss in their friendship.
Did we want to do any kind of summary of, what will be said between them?
But Yaris will, she won't have had time to read as they were talking, because...
No, he's just gonna go into his own tale.
Yeah, Yaris not rude, and she definitely appreciates this insight, and is like, huh, that kind of makes sense now.
I suppose to give you a bit of context before we go into the events of the book on my side, you might need to know a little bit about my people. So we came to the Feywild. We migrated there. In essence, I think I was never told. So I don't know. So that was one of Liam's questions, and I'm just like, I don't know that one. Sorry, guy. But we migrated, and basically, we were new and feared. So therefore, rumors and whatnot, and interest was taking in my people because of this, and he flutters his wings. My people were hunted for their wings when we came to the Feywild, to the Prime. Just as crap happens, right? I'm not saying that everybody all of a sudden was just on a massive our hunt, but it was definitely put out that they were valuable, so people poached us. My kind, as I said, we're people of warriors, and we don't exactly take people's shit, so to speak. And basically, we're not to be outdone by our strength, so we fought back, and we surprised a lot of these poachers who thought we were just, again, some more helpless fae, but we weren't. So we gave them reason to fear us, and that unfortunately maybe backfired, maybe didn't, but there's obviously aristocracy and people of power within some human kingdoms, and they basically began to stir stories about how we were these horrid, terrible creatures, anti-human, cult-like monsters who went into the night and murdered babies and things like that in order to make it easier to go after. And they basically claimed that we were so dangerous that humans would suffer greatly if the Fae ever went to war with them, just simply because of us. And while we are a warrior race, and they're not entirely wrong, we were targets of ignorance. We were, and people blinded by greed and wanting these bounties of our wings and everything, but we didn't care, because now we just had a reason to kill humans, so that's what we did, and we got hired to do it too. So we went into this war, in essence, because of these hatreds and things that were spawned just due to fear and prejudice. So that's in essence, this war happened because of these kinds of things. Basically, my people trying to just live, and then eventually getting pulled into a reputation, and then humans of at least just the particular kingdom I was in. I don't believe all humans are that way.
This Cormyr.
Yes, Cormyr. It led to a big war, and the humans were right. It was a terrible, terrible war, and my people made them suffer for it, for sure.
Yareth has been jotting down notes, or Leo's been talking. Not necessarily to show anyone, as he asked her to write down stuff, she's taking. These are shorthand notes, so to the layperson reading them, they won't make a lot of sense, but she knows what it says, so she can write it down later. But she'll put her quill down and take a deep breath, and the first words out of her mouth are, I'm sorry what I said to you. I'm sorry for calling you a jumped up twink.
Well, you're not entirely wrong in that regard. It doesn't matter. I did the same thing that you already had done to you, and it wasn't fair. I didn't. Well,
I was too wrapped up in my own shit.
In essence, did similar. It's something I despise and I hate. It's something that will pull me out of things and cause me to become a rather horrid person, and defend if I must. But that doesn't mean I'm immune to it myself. So I certainly don't want to dad you. I don't want kids.
Meanwhile, upstairs. Sorry, I had to.
No, that's
No,
fine.
you're absolutely fine.
But I guess on that same hand, you don't want a dad. I don't want to have to babysit. And you're young, I get it. You're gonna learn, you're gonna make mistakes. I hope you do, because that's how life goes. It's how you become who you are. There are just going to be times that I will be inclined to offer my own expertise from a point of not necessarily wanting to tell you what to do, but from going, I've seen this before, let's try to avoid it. And mostly it will come from trying to maintain that everybody else in our group remains safe. There is a certain bad habit of that to me now, because of what happened in that war and because of who I lost. So if I get obnoxious and overwhelming with it, I am happy to have you tell me. I'm happy to have anybody tell me to just shut up. And I am probably going to mention this to everybody, because no doubt everybody in the group has had similar feelings of how I act, and I'm only responsible for myself, so that is what I will do my best to control. But I am happy to be reminded to chill, and that I don't know everything, even though I am old and experienced. I may be old and experienced, but doesn't mean I've experienced everything. I haven't lived your life. I don't know you. I don't know your trials and the things you've gone through. So how can I even expect to try to control that flow? My life as a child, my people tried to control who I was to be Illyrian. You are an Illyrian. You are a warrior. You're a hardened, battle. You're male. You are. You must be everything that you are, and I didn't. I fought back against that. I'm Elio. I am myself. I want to heal. I'm a druid. My kind is to go through rite of passage. We get tossed into mountains, and our wings are bound, and our magic is tied, and we have to fight our way for a month to live. And my way of getting by wasn't to go around and kill everybody else. It was literally to make friends with bears and some rabbits and one really weird deer. So I go against the stream, and I always have, and I don't want to be the person who tries to force someone into my stream. So,
I mean, that's pretty fucking cool that you befriended animals to survive. Like,
I like it. I've tried. I mean, I became that as a child, and as a young adult, we came to the Feywild. We came to the Prime from the Feywild, and then then my mother died not long after, and I became Illyrian. I became male. I became a warrior and a fighter, and I lost that part of myself, and I fell into the hatred that was everything that entire conflict was about. And I probably would have been lost to it had it not been for a man that I met on the road one day. Just human. He was a wizard, and he was taking Fae and rescuing them, refugees, bringing them to shelter outside of this kingdom, somewhere better, somewhere safer. And I was going to kill him because I didn't know until I stopped and I saw this, and these Fae children came out of this carriage to stop me, the monster, from killing this human. And he changed everything about me. Then there was a war. And he was human. And I was Fae. And Elio is quiet for a time then. Like, there's a good audible silence. Like, his hand goes back to the ring he's holding, like the ring that's on that necklace, and like he can't even quite look at Yalrith. And eventually, like, he kind of like swallows thickly. Like, there's serious emotion that he's kind of withholding, but he's trying not to like shelter it entirely. And he eventually looks to Yalrith and he just goes, I was planning on spending my life with that man. And he died in my arms. in that war because of hatred and judgment of things that just people need to let go. And then it got shoved into me via this whole group, and this was a few decades past, and I've been trying to move on since. I held him as he died, and I would have taken him with me and given him buriage, but my people wouldn't let me. I was officially bad to them for caring about a human, and being on their side, I was branded as a traitor and exiled from my kind. It became glaringly obvious to me that it's not one or the other, it's everything, and I would rather try and promote being together and being friends with anybody you can possibly meet than caving to those kinds of judgments. And even though I've been thrust back into this horrid time of my life, and he kind of like pauses and he almost chokes up a little bit, his eyes kind of like go up and he's watering, and he goes, I was becoming what I hated, and I don't want to be that way. So please stop me if I become overbearing like that. And then he's just sort of quiet and sits.
And on that bombshell, we'll say goodbye.
Sorry, long-winded.
Super high
episode.
note, high happy note.
Yeah, lots of some history going on there. Some
Yeah. Lots of interaction.
Episode
lots of
backstory.
resolution.
well, I hope all of you enjoyed watching this
Back-to-back
lovely
story.
episode.
Ah.
And who knows? Maybe will we find more about Jin? Will we find more about Sabrak? Will we find more about Elio? What's going on with Sonya?
Would you
Nothing.
like to know more?
What's going on with Yalrith? Let's find out next time
Whoa.
on Dice Chasers.
Bye.
He's orchestrating our destruction.